playtime is over. Get your Prepared Mind merchandise at thepreparedmind.club. Help keep free speech free and spread the word about the need to prep.
Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. Something just doesn't feel right to me. We haven't been this close to this action in decades. It's been decades since we've seen the situation come together in such a way that the following events could happen. Welcome back, everybody. This is a very serious subject, and I think we're all being distracted. And it seems like we're distracted about everything. Everything is a distraction from the next thing, and it's like a big circus wheel of stupidity. But there's something lately that's just been gnawing at me. And, if I said we haven't been this close, right, and there's an investigation around it, you might think, well, 9/11. Right, the day before that, information was coming out and building up to that for weeks. And Donald Rumsfeld appeared before Congress, and he couldn't account for $2.5 trillion. Next day, 9/11. Coincidence? I don't think so. It just doesn't happen that way. There have been other major events where, is it just a coincidence? Or were people and things put into play, into motion? Right? Things that were being planned. A lot of times people go, I knew that was coming. But did they really? And can we really know? But we can look to history as a guide. It can point us in the right direction. So what am I really talking about? I'm talking about the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Killed in broad daylight. In front of God and the world. They assassinated the man. That is an event that America and the world knows. We all know it was an inside job. All of these conspiracy terms could be applied to that. In fact, the word or the phrase conspiracy theory was started by the CIA to discredit anybody investigating the assassination of John F. Kennedy. The powers that be at that time. And President Eisenhower warned the world of the military-industrial complex. The eyes of the world were on that. They saw it. And back then, people weren't asleep like we are today. They didn't have Xboxes. They didn't have iPads. They didn't have Kindle books. They didn't have porn on demand. They didn't have any of the shit that's out there today to distract people. They're wide awake looking at the Soviet Union down in Cuba because the Cuban Missile Crisis just happened. The Bay of Pigs fiasco. And the president was killed. How America didn't see what was going on? It's because of the absolute trickery and the scale or magnitude of what was done. They were in utter shock. They were in utter shock. Just like 9/11. Just a cursory examination of the evidence later, or people who were intelligent, who were right at the time, said, that doesn't look right. But the world was shocked. We were still set back on our asses. With JFK, what was going on at that time? I mentioned the Bay of Pigs fiasco. The CIA, under Allen Dulles, without permission, invaded Cuba. It's an act of war. Without the president's authority or Congress, it's an act of treason. JFK was pissed. He fired Allen Dulles, who ended up on the Warren Commission, which was the government bureaucratic agency or group that was put together to study and investigate JFK's assassination. The very man that was fired for the Bay of Pigs was put in charge of investigating the assassination of the president. Out of this world. The only thing that comes close to that is what's going on with Hillary Clinton and James Comey and Loretta Lynch, Susan Rice, Obama. These people are caught red-handed lying. They have evidence they've talked about. The NYPD has leaked pedophilia, money laundering, corruption, selling uranium to the Russians when they should not be doing it. It's done right in front of us, and everyone just pretends like it's not true, except for those of us who are watching. But JFK saw what the CIA did. Fired Dulles, said he's going to break it into 1,000 pieces, the CIA. Just going to shatter it, splinter it, break it up. It's too powerful, it's too secretive. Well, guess what organization still exists today? Everyone I've ever talked to who was alive at the time of JFK's assassination remembers precisely where they were when they heard the news. There was one man who was in Dallas that day who didn't remember very well, and that was a man who later became head of the CIA, who later became president. That would be George H.W. Bush. Right? Was Reagan's vice president. With the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover was compromised at that point. Documents are now out that demonstrate that J. Edgar Hoover, who had paperwork on everyone else, was himself compromised and is implicated in the investigation. But Hoover was an interesting cat. It seems like he let out information, right? He leaked stuff himself, pointing in the direction of the Bushes. Very interesting stuff. Who else was involved in JFK's assassination? None other than the very men who were assigned to protect him. The Secret Service. At Love Field, the airport in Dallas, those gentlemen that normally stood on the bumper while the president rode around in his car were told to get off and stay off. There's footage of it, film of it. And what I want to do is put in the description, right, a couple videos you can watch if you're not really familiar, if you're not overly familiar with all the details. One of the videos will be shorter, one will be longer. But they're pretty comprehensive. They're pretty damning. The Secret Service stood down. They didn't react when the shooting happened. The Dallas PD is involved in this as well. The Dallas Police Department. It was under their supervision that Lee Harvey Oswald, the apparent lone gunman, was assassinated by Jack Ruby, a nightclub owner with mob connections. And while we're talking about mob, as in the mafia, they were utilized in this as well. They had problems with JFK, if you didn't know, because JFK had double-crossed the mob. Frank Sinatra sang campaign jingles for JFK. The mob, through JFK's dad, Joe... Bootleg Joe Kennedy, right? They were involved in bringing alcohol in during Prohibition. There was a connection between the Kennedys and the mafia. And it turns out Jack and his brother Robert Kennedy, RFK, were working together to bring the mob down. They were double-crossing the mob. So everybody who apparently had an axe to grind with Kennedy were involved in it. The CIA, the FBI, the Dallas Police Department, and there were people in the police department who had problems with this. Secret Service, the mob. And who did President Eisenhower, the president before JFK, warn everyone in the world about? The military-industrial complex. Who did he warn them about? Secret societies. Now, he wasn't talking about the House of International Pancakes. He's talking about secret societies with power. Groups of men that met in clandestine fashion that had immense power, money, resources, connections. This isn't your local Rotary Club he's talking about. He's talking about men that were powerful indeed. Men and corporations that got contracts from the government And it's the standard circle jerk, right? The corporations pay the government officials to get the contracts that they make money off so they can pay the government, agents again. It's a big circle of taking money from you and handing it to someone else. It's called fascism. And while we're talking about fascism, the Nazis were brought over to the United States of America through Operation Paperclip. It's been declassified. Our rocket program, which competed against the rocket program of the Soviet Union, was headed by none other than Wernher von Braun, right? An SS officer. Just wild stuff. You want to know what's more wild than that? There's a gentleman in New Orleans that was helping coordinate these efforts. He was actually put up on trial by Jim Garrison, who is the district attorney for the city of New Orleans, or the parish of. They put Clay Shaw on trial, and Clay Shaw got off. He was being tried for participating in the conspiracy to kill JFK. Clay Shaw was the one gentleman. He just happened to be standing in the middle of a forest when guess who walks up to surrender himself and his other officers and scientists? Wernher von Braun. Isn't that just a strange coincidence? That the man who heads up our rocket science program came from Peenemünde, the secret rocket experimentation site that the Nazis had. Just happened to meet Clay Shaw in the forest. And Clay Shaw was later implicated in another strange coincidence. All of these factors coming together so that one lone gunman, a lousy shot no less, using a crappy rifle with a broken scope, was able to get off 3 shots faster than anyone can operate the bolt, much less sight it. Right? Scored 2 hits, including a headshot. It's all bullshit. Now, you know what I'm talking about. You know where I'm going. Trump is doing everything that JFK did, as much as you could mirror things. There was this belief that Trump was going to be a problem right off the bat. Then there was the belief that, through coercion and threats, that he could be controlled. But it turns out, at every turn, much like JFK and RFK did with the mob, Trump is bushwhacking these idiots. They think they got him, and then it turns out they look like bigger dumbasses than before. And he keeps doing this. He let James Comey come out and say all kinds of shit. James Comey, the former director of the FBI, compromised himself. Showed himself to the American people to be a liar and a co-conspirator with Hillary Clinton. Should have recused himself immediately anyways. Apparently he has business dealings with the Clintons. Allegedly. Possibly, maybe. While we're talking about the FBI, right now we got Mueller in there. And he's shining the light, got his flashlight out, trying to get Trump tied in with the Russians. But Mueller himself is compromised. Trump's got him by the short hairs. We've got an ex-president and his administration. You got Obama. You got Hillary Clinton. You got Eric Holder, Loretta Lynch, Susan Rice, and many others that were co-conspirators of many actions. And Obama himself, Barry Soetoro, is nothing more than a Manchurian candidate, a CIA fictional human being that was installed in the White House. If you look into the evidence, it's incredible. And Trump could blow the whistle on the FBI, could blow the whistle on Obama and Hillary. And they are the front face of apparently an organization that's completely wrapped up in human trafficking for sex purposes and pedophilia. The CIA ex-head, Brennan, if I remember his name right, was connected to Islam like he had converted. That he's been shamed out of the intelligence community as far as I'm concerned. He's been exposed as a compromised punk. He's come out in the past and threatened Trump in an offhanded way. The Secret Service, just like with Kennedy, was suspicious from the beginning. Suspicious. So what did Trump do? He brought in his own private security detail. To what extent they operated, if they're still going, currently I don't know. It doesn't matter, but what does matter is that the president didn't trust the Secret Service. You want to talk about a secret society, the Secret Service. Were his guys watching their guys and back and forth, making sure everybody played the game the right way? Does Trump have a Trump card? Meaning, if he's killed, his attorney, his friends, his people he has, his own private moles, could Trump have everything exposed just like that? Is that his threat? Is that what's keeping him alive? The State Department and a bunch of other federal bureaucracies are anti-Trump. Anti-Trump. Meaning they would co-conspire in his assassination and removal. And you know, if the Democrats and these deep state, these secret society Illuminati types with all kinds of power and money, if they had one iota, one smidgen of shit, they would smear it all over the camera lens for the world to see. And apparently they don't have anything. Because they would have played that card a long time ago. They would have had to stop Trump from getting this far. So what does that tell us? Trump must be clean as a whistle, other than the fact that he's a man and he's hated by feminists. You know, what is going on? Is this a rope-a-dope on us to make us believe in Trump? It would have been a whole lot easier, and America would have stayed asleep if they had just elected Hillary, if this is some type of rope-a-dope on us. So Trump must be the real deal. Because logically it makes no sense to get us all riled up and looking at Hillary, Obama, the deep state, the FBI, all the government agencies, and then see behind it the shadowy hand of these satanic pricks that are the New World Order, the globalist elites, the heads of the military-industrial complex that benefit when we go to war, that benefit actually when we're in peace. Because they completely, totally, always just say, well, that tank is no good, those planes are no good, we need new everything. Always new everything for the military. Meanwhile, you pay the military members shit. Whether we're talking about enlisted men or officers, they get paid shit. Meanwhile, they spend billions, hundreds of billions of dollars on the military. It's incredible. So while we're talking about all the bureaucracies, we got this Stork fella and Page emailing, texting, instant messaging each other, and apparently there was an actual assassination plot that was being discussed. Was it foiled by Trump's insiders? By real patriots? By whistleblowers? Did it get stopped that way? It actually implicates foreign service intelligence agents. That's right. This is not just the American military-industrial complex that's going to try and kill Trump. No, it's everybody. Because it's now a global community of fascist scumbags that lie about everything from the space program all the way down to welfare. And the military in between and all the money they need to make. It's a global shakedown of everyone on the globe. Every human being on every continent and every country are being taxed and bilked out of their money to enrich these scumbags. Trump has an anti-global agenda now. See, the globalists want free trade. What's that mean? That means they can take something from country A, make it really cheap, and sell it over here really expensive and make all the money in the difference in between if it was made over here with expensive labor in the United States, right? So they get all this shit for free and get it over here and make a big profit. They double dip. Well, Trump's trying to stop that, and he's doing it slowly. He's going to start putting trade tariffs on products. Yeah, it's going to start a trade war. But it was done back with Reagan when they went over and told Japan, no more cars. Right? We're going to start putting tariffs on your cars. So what did Japan do? They did an intelligent thing. They came over here to America, started building car factories. Now they're American-made Toyotas and Nissans. They're American-made Mercedes-Benz or BMWs. These are all American-made now. They did that to avoid tariffs, but it brought industry here to America, brought it over, brought jobs back. Is that what Trump is trying to do and trying to start? That's going to piss off the international globalist elite powers. That's the part of the military-industrial complex. There's the military part, the industrial part, right? And it's just a conglomerate of everything. And they scatter it around the world to dupe and steal from everybody and enrich themselves. Just last year, 1% of the rich made 87% of all the wealth, all the profit. I heard that, I think, just this morning. That's such an imbalance. And I'm no socialist, I'm no communist, but that isn't an imbalance. I'm not saying go tax them and take it away and redistribute it. I'm just saying there's a problem with the system, if that's how it works. If everyone works all year long, but 1% of the population takes 87% of the pie, what the fuck are the rest of us doing? We're working for them, in other words. And Trump has also made hints of battle against the banking system. Against all common sense, they came out and said a weaker dollar is a good idea in the last couple of days. Why the hell would he say that? You know, it's my opinion that Trump has plans. He's got strategies. And it's happening behind the scenes. He's duking it out with these people. This battle between good and evil. Or evil and I don't know, normal. Who knows, you know, how do you want to define it? Good and evil sounds too spiritual. It sounds too religious. But it is. There's evil in this world. And you don't have to be a religious wacko to see it. You don't have to go to church every day to see something and go, that's evil and that's wrong. So here we've got Trump doing the same thing. He's working behind the scenes the same way JFK did. He's tearing apart the FBI right now, making them look like fools. And he's got all the goods on them. Right? He's working against the corrupt gangsters who are behind the scenes, right? Squealing like stuck pigs because they've been caught. He's making sure he's protected. He's made it this far. We need to throw our support behind him and say, what else are you going to do next, Mr. President? The surprise of all surprises, someone we all thought, how good can he be? He's just a part of the system. But apparently this is one smart son of a bitch. Trump, President Trump, Donald J. Trump. But he's risking an ending just like JFK did. JFK had a beautiful wife, Jackie, who later married married Onassis, billionaire, foreign billionaire. They just took her out of the picture, right? Is Trump's wife, right? We seeing similarities? Beautiful young wife, you know, relative to his age, but beautiful nonetheless, right? Are we seeing some of these similarities? President Trump is in great danger. Before he was elected, there was discussion about potential for assassination. During the election, it was there. After the election, it was there. During inauguration, I know half the country probably watched, wondering if there wasn't going to be a gunshot while he was being sworn in. For the last year now, just over a year and 3 days, year and 4 days, Trump is going after these people. He's doing what he said he was going to do. One way or the other, things are going to crash anyway. Things are going to go to hell. Right? Shit hits the fan. You are ready for it. I'm ready for it. We're all ready for it, and we're trying to help others around us. And get your food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Get your plan together. But what the hell is going to happen, and how's it going to go down? Is it going to go down the way Trump is trying to bring it down, or is it going to go down the way the globalists are calling for it? Is one going to be shit it's the fan light, and one's going to be shit it's the fan hell? I don't know. But there are so many similarities, I can't get it out of my mind. It's that scary. You know, I look at the news every day. Is there a problem on the stock market? Are we going to have some war? Right? Something else that I've been thinking about lately is, are they going to take a crack at Trump? Are they going to have to save their own skins? Because if he starts making the big arrests, right, if he drops the hammer on the big enchilada, the big hill, right, if he arrests Obama, and did I hear, and maybe I just heard, maybe it was wishful thinking, that Obama has a legal team he's put together for his own defense. I don't know if I heard that or not. You guys can tell me. But if he starts dropping the shoe on them, squashing these bugs and arresting them, are they going to do their best or their worst to us? Any day now, and this is truly a threat, not by me. Any day now, Trump could get assassinated or an attempt made on his life. They could do it any time now. Why? Because they're worried to death. I've never seen the Democrats acting more stupid, more asinine than now. You know, what's that tell me? What's that tell you? They don't have a plan. They don't have a strategy. All they're doing is throwing shit in the air and seeing if something sticks. And it's not. All the while, the cogs of the wheel are turning. Everything's lining up. And it looks like we're getting closer and closer, right, to indictments being unsealed, to people being arrested, to documents being released. This anticipation of the imminent arrest of these scumbags, and it could take 2-3 more months to get them, but it's coming. In between now and when that happens, will there be an attempt on Trump's life? Will there be just an enormous false flag in order to distract us and take our eyes off the ball? I don't know. But after looking at all the similarities, once again, I mean, they were similar before Trump was even sworn in. And after a year, the similarities in the two sides are even greater. If you think John F. Kennedy wasn't aware that people wanted his ass in a slinger or dead or worse, yeah, he knew it. Why he got in that convertible car, I don't know. Why he didn't realize his men weren't behind him on the bumper. Why he didn't realize that his motorcade wasn't being flanked by the police properly. The formation of the motorcycles. The order of the cars. How he couldn't know that is beyond me. Was he blissfully unaware? Was he whacked out on painkillers because of his back? I don't know. But everything about the day that Kennedy got killed just stunk. Including the Zapruder film. It stinks. It's a sham, by the way. It's a real film that's been doctored. If Trump gets into one of his cars and he realizes there's a problem, he better be able to get out. If he smells anything wrong, he'd better get out. I hope he's got a team of conspiracy theorists that are looking at everything around him, making sure nothing lines up the way it would if it was, you know, because it's funny, it cracks me up. Every conspiracy theory, guys, has all this evidence leading to it. And we're like, how can you not see that? Hopefully there's people that are reverse engineering conspiracy theories going, Mr. President, you don't need to be going over there. Look at all this shit that's lining up. Right now, shit's lining up big, and Trump better be careful. Right? If he's doing what we're all hoping he's doing, the world is counting on that man to get it done. Right? If we didn't get Trump, we would have had Hillary. We've got Trump, so we've got some sort of hope because he continues to push. If I was Hillary and I was with the globalist New World Order Illuminati, I wouldn't want some kind of a bullshit game out there making me look like a complete idiot, thief, scumbag. Right? There'd be a better way to take over the world than making me look like shit, is what I would think. So this must be real. They must really be being exposed. And that also tells me there must really be big plans underway right now. Who knows how many different plots are being put together to try and assassinate Trump. What do you guys think? I hope I'm wrong. I hope they don't have an opportunity at all, but to me it looks like it is, because everything else is lined up now. All the players, everyone's picked sides. What do you guys think? You know, stay frosty, eyes front, you know, head on a swivel, and Godspeed to everybody. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours.